And we are live. Hello, 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 everybody. You are joining us for the first ever episode of the Christian Anime Podcast, or I should say, the first proper episode of the Christian Anime Podcast. Um, I'm going to change the structure of the live stream a bit because I want this to, of course, the live stream will still remain up. But yeah, I'll clip this out. I will clip this out though. Anyway, um, I I will clip this bit out because I'm changing the structure a bit. When I do the editing and things like that, um, the live stream will remain up, but the podcast itself I will upload as a separate video because I would much prefer to change the audio on that. We will wait there for a few people to come in, but while we are indeed waiting, I guess what should I talk about? We'll talk about a bit of Australian politics. For those of you across the pond, that being the Pacific Ocean, for those of you in America or those of you in Europe, or if you are joining us from Asia as well, there's one of the only things which is super important, of course, is the referendum in terms of should Aboriginal Australians be recognized in the Constitution. And yeah, basically that's been the discussion in the recent news cycle. So yeah, I guess that's it. All right, welcome, Hungry Hippo. Glad to have you joining us. All right, cool. We'll clip that bit out. So I'm just going to explain how the live stream is going to be structured now, because I want this to... So basically, we'll have this live stream. It's still going to stay up as an archived VOD. And then afterwards, I'll get like the recording of this live stream, and I'm going to do editing magic on it, put like a better, what do you call it? The sound thing, where you improve the sound of your voice, because the way I'm talking right now, I always edit it because this mic's not that great, and OBS isn't that great either. So yeah, that's why I put it through DaVinci Resolve in order to improve the audio quality a bit. And yeah, that will be uploaded separately as a podcast, with bits edited out. So yeah, that's the way I'm planning to do it, because I want this live stream to be a bit more clippable, so I actually post more content on the channel. Like recently, let's talk about the recent videos actually, which I was really proud of. The first being, of course, the Mr. Beast Sunny V2 video, which I put up. Yeah, exactly right, Hungry Hippo. Clip it and ship it. So yeah, the first like non-anime video I put up was like the Sunny V2 is a genius video. I really liked it. I liked my take on it. And yeah, I was super proud of that. I was glad that I put it up at a time when all the controversy was still surrounding that. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that. It did pretty well, like better than most of my other videos, so I'm pretty happy with that. Some of the things I do still stand by it, because yeah, Sunny V2 he really is positioning himself as someone who's more in the center. He's because I'm sure he's a center-left individual. Yeah, the Sunny V2 video was really good as well. Yeah, because he is definitely trying to position himself as a person in the center, because I'm sure he was center-left, as most Australians are. They are usually center-left people in terms of economic policy, and they're not typically conservative. They're more like, culturally, they're not typically culturally conservative. But I think Sunny V2, he can see, like, you can see in his videos, right, which is, he's made fun of vegans, he's made fun of fat people, he's made fun of the body positivity movement. He's made fun of some of the troons as well. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think of the different code words that I'm supposed to use on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. Susan, I know you're gone, but I'm sure you're still watching us. Anyway, so yeah, in terms of that, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that take, which is that Sunny is trying to position himself as, hey, look, I'm not like those other leftists who are really crazy about all of this stuff. I'm not woke. That's what he's certainly positioning himself as, especially when it comes to the Troon movement. Yeah, I think the only case where you see Chris and you're like, hey, this is perfectly normal. The only case where you're gonna say that is perfectly normal is if you were indoctrinated into the far left narrative. I just don't see any other case, like because if you were center left and you're looking at it and you do have some form of common sense, then you're going to say, no, of course I don't believe in this Troon movement. So yeah, there is that aspect of it. Hello, Compound Fracture. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Australian morning, I should say. It is currently 10 a.m. Australian Western Standard Time. I typically do this. So I typically do these live streams at 9 a.m. Western Australian Standard Time, but I had to deal with some family stuff, so I would have liked to go a bit earlier. So yeah. If you think for more than 5 minutes on Troons, the whole movement makes no sense. Yeah, exactly right, Hungry Hippo. Yeah, if you think about it twice, like, can a guy actually transition to being the opposite gender? And of course not. Of course not. You cannot be serious when you say that. So yeah, I'm actually working on. I'm not sure how long it'll take. Probably a month, actually. I'm trying to work on this, like, Azusa meme where Azusa says, like, oh, please stay in your body. It's something to the effect of, Azusa says that you should stay as the body that God made you to be. So you shouldn't transition to another gender. So yeah, I'm working on that. I don't know how, because my drawing skills aren't great. But yeah, I'll keep working on that. All right. The other, this was actually anime adjacent, and I still really adore the thumbnail that I did for this, where it's got like the crossover Michael Knowles. Yeah, it's a toxic relationship, conservatives, and anime. The reason why I made this video, because Ali Beth Stuckey, like, she made some very good points in her podcast, so I'll grant her that, because a lot of the points in her podcast were pretty good, right? However, if you were, because I was in the premiere chat of that particular podcast where she said, "Oh, hey, did anime make Mr. Beast's sidekick Troon?" Because yeah, like, even the thumbnail and the title of that video was certainly not helpful. Like, she may have, yes, it's true. She did actually respond to my comment on that, on that video there, but. Even if you're framing it like that, like, oh, hey, anime is like this left-wing psyop to make your kids into a Troon, that is seriously harmful to the right-wing narrative anyway. Where if you are saying these things, you are alienating a lot of people who do watch anime, who tend to be more apolitical. People who watch anime are typically apolitical. And if you say that this thing that all these people do really love, I know a lot of apolitical people who are very passionate about anime. If you're going to say to them that, oh, that anime is going to make you into a Troon, well, that's certainly not helpful to the right-wing movement. And although Ali Beth Stuckey and Michael Knowles, they're more on like the extreme end of the center-right movement. I don't consider them very right-wing. Because yeah, like, you spend like 5 minutes on right-wing anti-Twitter and you understand that the mainstream conservative movement is not very right-wing. So yeah, but those two people who are a bit more authoritarian in their views, a bit more paleo-conservative, then yeah, they'll do that. When they say this sort of stuff, it's they have a lot of very well educated takes, but when they say stuff about anime, which they clearly have no idea what they're talking about, it's very alienating to those people who are apolitical and do watch anime. So yeah, especially when people like Matt Walsh will just diss anime and then never expand on it. Yeah, like it's been 6 months since that take where he was like anime is satanic. Like seriously, guys, this is not the way that you win the hearts and minds of people in the center or people on the left either. And yeah, you're just adding fuel onto the fire. You're alienating this quite apolitical group of people, and they would have stayed apolitical if you hadn't talked about anime in the first place. So, yeah. Which I guess that's why my channel exists, right? It's because I feel a lot of people who do watch anime, they've had like very Christian conservative parents who just don't understand it, and I know there's that stereotype of like the southern Baptist mother who's like, no, you must not watch Pokemon because it's like it's got demons in it. Yeah, that sort of stuff is harmful because it creates a false picture of what Christianity is all about, and we're not winning people over to Christ if we say that sort of stuff. So yeah, just gonna have a sip of water. Goodness. All right. What else? I was going to say something else in regards to that, but it's gotten off. It's gotten off my mind. Okay, but yeah, those two videos I was pretty happy with, and yeah, I guess we'll talk about Suzume now. I will try not to spoil people. Yeah, all my notes here are non-spoilers, but you'll get my sense of what I think about Suzume and the new direction that Makoto Shinkai is going in, which I think it worries me that he's going into this new direction. But look, if he does it well, and if his next movie is going to be pretty good, I won't complain. All right. So overall, Suzume no Tojimari was overall pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. Probably Shinkai's weakest in a while. It's probably comparable to Children Who Chase Lost Voices. That one was, yeah, the weak story, like beautiful artwork, but a very, very weak story. And the reason why it's also comparable with Children Who Chase Lost Voices is because both of them have these fantasy elements. They draw on the influence from Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. They do draw on those influences, both Suzume and Children Who Chase Lost Voices. But then Shinkai tries to really force his Shinkai style romance into it, which doesn't work very well. It didn't work with Children Who Chase Lost Voices, and it didn't really work with Suzume as well. Again, good movie, but it's in terms of a narrative standpoint, it's not that great. It's weak. It is a lot weaker than his previous movies, I should say. So again, really beautiful, but I should say that the CGI for it, the amount of CGI in this movie also really ruined it for me. There's this particular scene, if you've watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about, where there's like this CGI model that's been pasted over the top of this beautifully drawn Tokyo. And yeah, it ruins it. It's a stain on an otherwise beautifully animated movie. And yeah, I just wish that the CGI wasn't as prominent as it was when I went and watched it. Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame because Shinkai is a great artist, right? You can really see it in all of his work. Every movie that he makes every frame in every movie that he makes is a beautiful work of art. And when he tries to force in CGI, it's just not effective. This was the same with Weathering with You. Actually, there was a scene I noticed where they did have CGI in it, and yeah, you could really tell which part of the movie had CGI in it and which part of the movie was better animated. So yeah, I think if you are using CGI in a movie, you better do it in a way that it seamlessly transitions and seamlessly works together with the existing animated anime style, right? Anime art style. So yeah, there is that. Oh yeah, the Radwimp song as well. So there were two Radwimp songs that I noticed, and that was only at the start and the beginning. Sorry, at the beginning and at the end as well, which is yeah. It doesn't feel like a Shinkai movie when you don't have a lot of Radwimps in it. So yeah, I wish there were more Radwimps songs in it, but yeah, I guess they just couldn't do it. I will also mention that the romance in the movie did feel a bit forced, and I do feel a bit strange about it. But yeah, it's kind of forced that oh hey she likes him now. There is a level of relationship building in the first half of the movie, so I guess there is that aspect of it. But yeah, I think the only reason why the girl Suzume likes the guy. I forgot his name because that's how forgettable he is. Yeah, that's another thing which a lot of the characters in this movie are a bit forgettable, which is unfortunate. You just recognize their faces and you don't really remember their names. But yeah, the only reason why Suzume liked the guy in the first place was because of his looks, which is very superficial. And it's not like Shinkai to do that in terms of romance. I will also mention an extra 10 minutes at the start could have been used to develop the just the general relationships that Suzume has, because we're kind of just pushed into the movie without any explanation of what the family dynamic is like, what the friendship, the school dynamic is like for Suzume, and because of that, yeah, it's not great. It's okay, but yeah, I think that extra 10 minutes at the start could have helped in terms of character development. Now, I was particularly disappointed in this because Shinkai, since Your Name actually, so you more avid viewers will have noticed that there have been cameos of different characters from previous movies. So the teacher in Garden of Words. Is it Garden of Words? I'm pretty sure it's Garden of Words. But the teacher from Garden of Words is the teacher in what's her name? Miyazono's. It's the teacher in what's her name again? It's the girl from Your Name. It's. I'll have to look it up. I'm sorry, guys. This is very good live streaming. Because I know her last name's Miyazono, but I just can't remember for the life of me what her first name is. Pop. Discover, please, and we are looking for Your Name characters. Oh, that's right. Just gonna change it to all messages because. All right, yeah. Sorry that I missed your comment there, Compound Fracture, but unfortunately, it looks like YouTube is shadow banning you for some reason. The conservatives would care about reaching out to them if they cared about winning, which they clearly don't. Yeah, that is fair, Compound Fracture, because yeah, I think I will say that there is a strange thing among conservatives, which I think we do want to stand on principle, because there's stuff like the I'll speak in code. There's stuff like the deletion of babies, for example. The deletion of babies is such a important issue, but a lot of mainstream conservatives want to say, "Oh, let's not talk about that because it will alienate voters. It will alienate suburban women." So I think in terms of the pro-life issue, for sure, conservatives should be certainly pro-life because we have to stand on some form of principle. But it's gray areas like this, like anime, itself. Like how should conservatives and Christians themselves as well treat anime? It's gray areas like this where if we don't know a lot about it, then maybe we shouldn't talk about it, because that's the part about, hey, we do have principles, but let's actually think about how we actually navigate these issues, because we don't want to alienate people if we don't have to. Yeah, let's not delete babies because we will lose elections. Big time cringe, definitely. So I think conservatives are definitely right that we should stay on certain principles, but there are just some things where conservatives and Christians as well, where we really act quite aggressively to things which we don't have to react so aggressively to. And especially when it comes to pop culture stuff, we do not have to act as aggressively as conservatives have done, and especially in regards to anime as well. Yeah, Mitsuha is her name. Okay, back to Suzume. You'll notice in a lot of Shinkai movies, there will be cameos from previous movies. So the teacher who was in The Garden of Words is Mitsuha's teacher in Your Name. And both Mitsuha and Taki, they both appear in Weathering with You. So my expectation was that that Hina and what's the guy's name? Hosoda. Yeah, Hina and Hosoda, I was expecting them to show up in Suzume, and I was quite disappointed that they didn't. Which is a real shame, because yeah, that's one of the things which, it's a small thing, but it's a thing that Shinkai should do. Shinkai has already set the precedent that he includes cameos of people from previous movies. And because of that, because I was fully expecting them to show up in Tokyo, and they didn't. And like a 2-second scene could have done it like that. So yeah, it's a shame. It is a bit of a shame. But there is that level as well that it might have something to do with the timeline of it all. Because yeah, Tokyo's not flooded this time, so it might have something to do with that, which I'll accept I guess I'll accept that as a explanation, but at least have like Hina show up at some point. All right, what else do I have to say about Suzume? Yeah, the ending was actually I really liked the ending of Suzume. There's a bit in there's the first scene in the movie, and I love how it all beautifully connects to the last scene in the movie. It's really, really good. So yeah, I'm really happy with. I thought it was a very good way to end the movie. In terms, I won't spoil it for you, but it's a good way of tying everything together quite nicely. Okay, now onto some more of my concerns, which are that Suzume does confirm a fear of mine that Shinkai really is positioning himself as the next Miyazaki. Now, you might say, isn't that a good thing that he's positioning himself as the next Miyazaki? I'm going to point out some of the ways why this is actually bad. Because if you have watched classic Shinkai films, Shinkai movies like... I haven't watched all of them, but I know 5 centimeters per second, that's a classic Shinkai one. And The Garden of Words, I'd classify that as classic Shinkai. They're pretty good, right? The reason why they're good is because Shinkai has all his artwork in it. Shinkai has... he's clearly got his themes of romance and division. He's got his romantic themes in there. Yeah, Shinkai is also highly influenced by science fiction themes, and they are purely romantic stories focusing on different forms of division between the main characters. So yeah, in 5 centimeters per second, it's the division by distance. How these two main characters, they're divided by distance, and over time they part their ways. The Garden of Words, it's division by age. Children Who Chase Lost Voices, it's they're divided by death, basically. I can't remember. I haven't watched the other two movies. Yeah, so there's another one where they're also divided by death, and there's another one where they're divided by the vast outreaches of space, basically. So they're divided literally by planets. So yeah, that's Shinkai's style, right? Which is they're purely romantic stories with an element of division in them. And you get that in Your Name, and you also get that in Weathering with You. I don't think we get that though in Suzume. There is a level of division, but it's not a purely romantic story in that sense. This new era of Shinkai feels like he's not merely taking inspiration from, but instead trying to marry his distinct style of romance with that of Miyazaki's, and it has resulted in this lesser product of a film, that being Suzume. So he's got the romance elements of it, and he's mushing it together with like this fantasy story, basically, which is it still makes a good movie, but it's a lesser product. Because yeah, there's some of the fantasy elements in this which I think could have gone well, but because he's stepping between a romance and a fantasy movie. He's not really got this distinct style, and he hasn't really got this really distinct story to tell. So yeah, it is unfortunate. Yeah, while Your Name and Weathering with You have Shinkai written all over them, Suzume feels more like a Studio Ghibli fan fiction. Because yeah, there's these two there's these two fantasy creatures basically that show up in the movie, and yeah, they show up. They're just there. They don't really have a point to them except in the last bit. So yeah, and that's why I make that comparison to Children Who Chase Lost Voices, because Children Who Chase Lost Voices does feel like a fantasy film as well, with all of these elements where they're trying to go to this particular place. And Suzume feels the same, where they've got all these fantasy elements, but they're not purely romantic stories. They're not. They don't have that Shinkai style to them, which again creates a lesser product. So yeah, I really do hope that Shinkai does return to what he's good at, which is purely romantic stories. But I feel like he won't do that. There is a reason why he is positioning himself as the next Miyazaki, and that's the trend which I am seeing right now. And Suzume, after these 3 movies in the new era of Shinkai films, yeah, it does confirm that. So, experimenting with fantasy as he has done. So experimenting with fantasy as he has done in his previous 2 movies has worked well, because they were purely romantic stories first. But Suzume strays too far into the fantastical realm and into this Japanese road trip, but at the expense of the romance, which is, yeah, it does create a lesser product. I feel Shinkai films are too similar with his style, only leaves room for disappointment. So yeah, I hear this criticism. I hear this criticism of Shinkai a lot, which is, oh hey, why does Shinkai always make romantic movies? Which I don't think is a bad thing, actually. Because the reason being is because what's the rate that he's producing these movies at? Like every 3 to 4 years. His catalog isn't oversaturated, right? He's not like oversaturating the market with a bunch of these really emotional, really romantic films. And because of that, I don't understand that criticism of him, because I'm perfectly fine. Like every 3 to 4 years, I head into a movie theater. I'm expecting a romance film, and because it's a romance film that I'm watching, I'll be pretty happy with it. I think that expectation, that brand, that style, is what he needs. Because yeah, if he's just gonna make a bunch of other stories willy nilly, where I don't think he's experimented enough in that. He's at this point where he is pretty popular. I guess that is the price of fame, unfortunately. I think if he started off small, creating a bunch of varied stories, maybe some sci-fi, some fantasy, some horror, if he did some action, maybe like Miyazaki did during his time in Studio Ghibli, because Miyazaki's catalog is quite varied. But that's only because over time, that's what he's done, right? He's varied his film catalog over time it's not like Shinkai though, because Shinkai has created this brand of romance, and that's the only thing that he's done, right? And because that's the only thing that he's good at, I think that's what he should stick to in order to maintain his brand. If he does delve into other things, he should maybe do a few smaller projects rather than doing a big project like Suzume, which was this weird combination of it was definitely this weird combination of fantasy and romance. If Suzume was a bit maybe a smaller project, I think I would have been more accepting of that. It's not the timing on it, more like he has the same formula and it's to be expected. Just my opinion, though. Yeah. I think, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though. 'Cause yeah, like if you're going into the cinema and you're expecting a romance film, I don't think you're going to be disappointed by that. Because I think I was more disappointed because I was going into the cinema expecting a romance film. Instead, we get like a road trip and some fantasy elements in it, and yeah, that was a bit disappointing for me. But yeah, that I completely understand that it does get repetitive, but that's only if it only gets repetitive if you're going if the timing is a little closer to each other. Like, I would completely understand that if it was like if these movies were 1 year apart or 2 years apart. But considering that it's 3 to 4 years apart, I don't think I don't think it's that saturated if you think about it more. But yeah, anyway, that is a fair point though, Hungry Hippo. So I do understand that. I'm now going to have a bit of a water break. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's moments like these where I have a water break, which is I'd prefer to cut it out of the video, which is why in terms of this live, yeah, as I mentioned at the start, I'll keep the live stream up, but I will post the podcast itself and onto the podcast platform a bit later on once I've edited this down. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I've already addressed that. Yeah, he's pumping them out, which is the rate that he's pumping them out is about 3 to 4 years. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, my conclusion there is let Makoto Shinkai do Makoto Shinkai. Let him position himself as the director who does good romance movies every 3 to 4 years, because yeah, the only way I think he could break free from his from his romance brand is if he does a few smaller projects on the side where, they don't have to be feature-length movies, but he does a few, like, 30-minute mini movie, short films on the side, doing other genres. And yeah, that's the only case where I think those could work out, right? I don't think it'll work out if the next feature film he puts out is, like, a different genre, and yeah, if the next feature film he puts out is a different genre, I think I'd be a lot more disappointed because not because I'm expecting a romance out of him, but because I'm not expecting other genres that he does to be good, especially into when he's done fantasy-esque films in the past, like Children Who Chase Lost Voices, and same with Suzume now. When he's done those fantasy-esque movies, he hasn't done as well because he doesn't have a mastery over them. So I think it would be much better for him to do short films in order to practice that craft, and then transition to doing different genres in feature films. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, I do love, yeah, I really do love Shinkai. I am a Shinkai fan through and through. And yeah, that's why I like him. It's because he's a reliable director who makes good movies. And yeah, I think that's what attracts me to him, which is that he's just a good director at romance films. Yeah. Anyway, that's that. I guess we'll transition to the next topic if we're ready. It's just you, Hungry Hippo, though. So yeah, I will spend a few minutes into let's transition. Beep beep. Bop, 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 bop. We're gonna wait for the plane to fly over because yeah, I don't don't want that to be included in the recording. Anyway, how are you doing, Hungry Hippo? Having a nice day? Or what's your time zone now, actually? It might be evening or afternoon for you. Yeah. I've been actually no, I shouldn't share stuff about my private life because yeah, I don't want to be doxxed. But yeah, anyway. Okay, I will been doing off and on homework and video games. Been pretty good. 7:35, yeah. 9:30 p.m. where you're at. Thanks Compound Fracture. Wondering if you are still in the chat. But yeah, sorry about that. I just changed my live chat to because there's two settings where you can read the top chat and live chat. And Compound Fracture, you weren't showing up in top chat, which makes me because YouTube's been doing this weird thing with shadow banning. It's sorry, I shouldn't say shadow banning. It's like it detects stuff which it thinks is potential spam, and then it sometimes removes people from chat, which I really don't like. Yeah, it's such a weird feature, and I hope they improve it because I don't like this shadow banning of other people. So yeah. All right, cool. I think both of you are in L'America. So yeah, that's my expectation. Okay, cool. Let's talk about a bit about what was on this season. Let's talk first about Kubo, because yes, it's not coming out. I just realized that I put a lot of misinformation into my short about Kubo. That Kubo-san video, sorry, Kubo-san short has been doing pretty well actually. It's still getting views today. Just got 1,000 views in the last 2 days. It's getting 500 views a day right now. But yeah, I'm surprised that this short, the Kubo-san short, really did do quite well. But yeah, I put a lot of misinformation into that. I was saying it would restart in April, but no, they're re-airing all of the episodes in Japan from starting this April. And the newest episode of Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible will be actually releasing around May 17th. So yeah, unfortunately, I did put a lot of misinformation into there. But hopefully people forgive me. But yeah, I wasn't clear on the thing either. So I was also going to say that I think this anime was better positioned to be in the last season, so that would have been winter. So it would have been better positioned if it had continued airing during the winter season. The reason why I say this is because there's a lot of good anime this spring. So Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible is going to be overshadowed naturally by those bigger animes that are releasing. So yeah, and it's unfortunate because I do think there are some parts of Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible which are quite wholesome, but yeah, it's not. It is a slice of life anime, and it is pseudo it does have a romantic subtext as well, but yeah, it's also quite slow, which is unfortunate as well. So yeah, I think it would have been better if it had continued releasing during that period last season. So now let's continue on to like proper things about this season. Let's continue with the Dangers in My Heart, which I think was we're 3 episodes in now into the Dangers in My Heart. Yeah, it's I think it has gone a bit quick. From at the start where he was like, yeah, I wanna kill. I wanna shank her. Can't say kill. I wanna shank her. And then to episode 3 where he's like, yeah, I like her now. Which I think he might turn into a yandere, which would be funny if he does. And I hope it. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this story goes. Because of course I am cheering him on. because the girl obviously likes him as well. Even though that he's a bit of a crazy guy, saying yeah. He's a bit obsessed with knives and things like that as well. So yeah, we'll see where this anime goes. Next one, which is My Home Hero, which animation wise, it's not great, but My Home Hero I have been liking because it's become a handbook on how to get away with murder in Japan, which is quite funny in itself. So I'm sorry, moider, I should say, how to get away with moider in Japan. So My Home Hero has been very funny in that, and I think it's there's a lot of the music choice. There's a lot of like the narrative as well. It's not well on the animation side, it's not that great, but because it excels in narrative and excels in music and tension and suspense and things like that, that's what makes it so good, and why I have been really enjoying My Home Hero as well. So yeah, okay. Next one is Insomniacs After School as well. Second episode came out, and yeah, first episode was pretty good. I did like it, introduced everything quite well, but the second episode was a bit weaker. It did the usual slice of life stuff. And yeah, I hope it picks up a little because it is a little slow. I'm not bored, but yeah, that's what I have noticed, which is it is a bit slow. But I think slow anime like this is actually a benefit. Slow anime is better, and I think the fact that I do get a bit bored from slow anime sometimes just is a testament to how ridden our minds have been, how bored our minds have been to this sort of stuff. Because yeah. Do you like slice of life? Says Hungry Hippo. Yes. I think it does. There's some slice of life which just get really boring. But I think slice of life does okay when the stories are actually interesting. If the stories are actually interesting and if they are compelling, then I will like them. I'm trying to think of some good slice of life. I'm just gonna take a look at my my anime list to see if I've rated any in my top 10. Because what I don't like actually is I don't like slice of life which incorporates a bit of like a romantic subplot, because the subplot does a lot worse. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a look. Yeah, Clan adds a slice of life which I really like. Violet Evergarden's not really a slice of life, but it technically is. There's A Whisker Away. No, that's more romance. Nichijou. Yeah, Nichijou is kind of slice of life, but it's also a comedy, which has that going for it. K-On, but for certain other reasons. Yeah, I also like K-On for other certain reasons. Lucky Star. I do want to watch Lucky Star at some point, but from the clips I've seen of Lucky Star, it looks like it's the reason why Lucky Star is successful, and the reason why K-On and Lucky Star are successful as slice of lives, because it's because they're cute, right? There's no other reason why you wouldn't be watching them, because I think that's the only reason why they're good as slice of lives. Because slice of lives where it's just following a guy going through his day, yeah, that gets pretty boring at some point. But because K-On and Lucky Star, they do have that cuteness, that they do have that moe factor in it. Same with Clannad, I should say. Clannad is also included in this because they have that cute moe factor to it. That's what brings a lot of value to those slice of lives. So yeah, if a slice of life doesn't really have that that other thing which is pushing them forward, then yeah, I think they fail. March, is it March Comes In Like a Lion? Yeah, it's the shogi anime. So the shogi anime as well. That's it does have slice of life elements in it, but that's more incorporating them into the like the shogi tournament. So that one's a good slice of life, I think. Girls Lost Tour. Do we count Girls Lost Tour as a as a slice of life. Because I wouldn't count it as like a as an apocalypse anime. But yeah, that one was cool. Um, let's see. Trying to look. Yeah, no, I haven't watched any. Oh yeah, Horimiya. Horimiya is kind of a slice of life. But yeah. Oh, Spy Family as well. It's kind of one. Um, yeah, I don't think I've watched any purely slice of life shows. Um, really, Girls Last Tour put you to sleep. Oh, that's a shame. I really like Girls Last Tour because I think, um, let's say, because I haven't read the proper manga yet, and I will be saving up to get the Girls Last Tour manga because I want to see the ending of it. But Girls Last Tour is such an interesting it's an interesting story, and it's also done in a cute way, which is why I like it. So yeah. All right, cool. So that is Insomniacs After School. Now let's get to the two ones which I've been looking forward to, which are of course Konosuba. Oh, sorry, I've just hit the mic there. We will edit that out. I've been really looking forward to this one because it's been a while since they've had a proper Konosuba project. I think it was 3 years ago where the movie came out. And yeah, I'm not sure where the progress of the series is going. I'm not even I haven't even been following the light novel or anything like that. But yeah, Konosuba, it's good to have it back. It's good to see it back in action. I have been kind of missing the Konosuba like style of comedy as well, which is what I really appreciate about Konosuba Megumin Edition. I've been calling it that because I know it has a proper name. What's it? It's like Konosuba, an explosion in this wonderful world. I think the full name is, but we'll just call it Konosuba Megumin Edition. Because yeah, I like it because it's cute and it's got Megumin in it, and Megumin's a very good character. I think she's the best character in out of the three girls in the main story of Konosuba. And yeah, it's been pretty funny. There's some bits which are really funny, but some bits which are like, yeah, it's a bit dull, some of the humor. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's been pretty cool. So yeah. Okay. And of course, here we go. I'm gonna hype it up. It's the most anticipated anime of this season, which is of course Oshi No Ko, which after that first episode, I stand by my point, which is I'm pretty sure this will be anime of the year. Which is a shame because Crunchyroll will do the weird thing, right? Because during the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, they did this weird thing where they were like, no anime from summer, so no summer anime because you might be biased due to recency bias, basically. So that basically cut out, I think, Mob Psycho. It cut out. Mob Psycho Season 3. It cut out Bocce the Rock and cut out Chainsaw Man from the Crunchyroll Anime of the Year Awards. Now, I was expecting that, hey, maybe there won't be anything better than Bocce the Rock, and I was hoping for this year, when the Crunchyroll Anime Awards do come in, that Bocce the Rock would deserve its reverence as Anime of the Year. But yeah, no, after Oshi No Ko came out, I'm like, yeah, it's a shame because Oshi No Ko is a lot better. I really like it. Hungry Hippo says, I haven't seen the second episode yet, but I'm scared it's just going to fall off after the banger of the first episode. No, don't worry, second episode is pretty good as well. So don't worry about that. Do watch it because I think it's, or you can just wait for it to finish in order to binge it. The problem with that is that there will be a bunch of manga readers who will spoil it for you. Because yeah, manga readers are really annoying for some reason, and they like spoiling people for some reason. So yeah. But yeah, I've been really liking Oshi No Ko. I know a lot of people absolutely adore this manga. It's written by Aka Akasaka, who's the same writer behind Kaguya-sama Love is War. And yeah, as I said in a previous short, it's good because it's an anime which can make you laugh. It's an anime which can make you cry as well, as hard. And yeah, that's what I really like about Oshi No Ko. So looking forward to where this goes. I hope it won't be the same as Chainsaw Man, where a bunch of manga readers spoil it for me. And yeah. let this be a warning to manga readers as well, that don't spoil this, because you know how the story is going, you know, like, all the good parts about the story, so don't spoil it for everyone, because you know how good the story is, so don't ruin it for everyone else who is just first experiencing this really beautiful story. So yeah, okay, that's it. In terms of the winter anime wrap up. I will, though. There is another thing which I will address for today, and that will be the other thing which I'm going to address is this issue of VTubers. And the reason why I'm addressing this is in particular because of this particular story coming from Dexerto. Dexerto is the news source, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Okay, and it says, though, the headline, this came out, when was this? Last week? Yeah, this came out last week, which was VTuber Usada Pekora is the most watched female streamer across YouTube and Twitch, and in that list of top 10 streamers, I think it's got 5 other HoloLive members in that top tier. I think this is how should a Christian, like, how should we as Christians continue to navigate into this world? And I think there's a perfect way in how we should respond, which is Christians should also become VTubers. Now, you might say, oh, hey, there will be people like Paxtube who say VTubers are absolutely evil. But I think that's a perfect reason why Christians should be involved in the VTubing space, or at least become independent VTubers. I know there's a lot of, I don't know, but I'm sure, I am quite certain that there are a lot of Christians who haven't started YouTube channels because they don't want to show their face, basically. And I think VTubing is the perfect way to actually still show your personality, still have like a face on, like I'm doing right now. Like, it's a faceless, this is a faceless channel. I will never do a face reveal on this channel because I don't want to be doxxed, and I don't want to get in trouble for a lot of the stuff that I say on this in real life. So yeah, this is why I have this, the PNG model. At some point I will try to get a VTubing model, so don't worry about that, guys. I am working towards that endeavor. But yeah, that's the Christian response, which is, I think we shouldn't be saying. I just watched Ruslan's stream this morning, where it had where they were reacting to Sean Cannell from Think Media, and he said something quite beautiful, which is like, we Christians shouldn't just be criticizing about all the bad stuff that's happening in the world. We should actually be producing light. We should be the light out in the world and actually producing culture for ourselves in order to influence others. So yeah, there's such a great, I definitely think Christians should be entering this space into VTubing, especially because we've seen it work. We've seen it work with HoloLive. VShoujo, as bad as it is, look at how well they're doing. And I think instead of pointing fingers at VShoujo, look at how bad they are. Instead, why don't we actually properly enter this space, enter this VTubing space as Christians in order to produce our own culture, in order to influence the culture ourselves, and in order to create, in order to make VTubing a lot cleaner than what a lot of the independent English VTubers are doing right now. I see a lot of independent English VTubers, and they are all degenerates. A lot of the models out there are really, really degenerate. So yeah, there is that. Hungry Hippo says HoloLive is just based. Most aren't the normie Western degen type. Yeah. That's another reason why I like HoloLive, which is I think HoloLive is a quintessentially Japanese Japanese company, and because of that, it's like, okay, because HoloLive is a mixed bag. There are some degenerates. I think there's some models on there which aren't the best, and there are some VTubers on there which I don't particularly like. I didn't like Coco, because I know Coco, who is now Case on VShoujo. Yeah, she was quite degenerate, and I know Marin Senpai. No, I shouldn't call her senpai, but Marin is not great either. Because yeah, she is overtly frisky. She is overtly there's a lot of VTuber. I think Kiara as well. Kiara on Hololive is quite overtly frisky and spicy. Mori Calliope as well. But anyway, sorry, I'm criticizing them too much now. I think Hololive though, yeah, there's a lot of wholesome. Hololive tries to be as wholesome as possible, rather than showing that more more spicy, frisky style. So yeah. Okay. We are nearing the end of the hour, so well, when I post this, it won't be an hour because it'll be edited down. Yeah, when I repost this as a video podcast, it won't be an hour, but we are nearing the hour on the live stream. Thank you very much for you two, Compound Fracture and Hungry Hippo. It was a pleasure interacting with you in chat. So yeah, I will be ending the stream there. Yeah. Hungry Hippo says, Ina best girl simply cannot be beat. Oh, I'm sorry, but I am a Gargura fan through and through. I'm sorry, Hungry Hippo, but that is an L take right there. Ina is a drawing god, but yeah, she is an absolute god at drawing. But yeah, Gargura is a lot cuter. And yeah, that's why I watch her. Oh, actually, let's talk a bit about that because I noticed VTubers have health issues. Yeah, it was unfortunate that a lot of people in chat, in her pre-stream chat actually were quite angry at Gargura for like not streaming, which is I think there's when it comes to health issues, we should definitely navigate it with a lot of sensitivity because I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't want to share their medical history or their medical problems with the rest of the world, which is I don't think we as fans aren't necessarily entitled to know whatever is going on in their life, and because we're just fans, right? We're not the ones who are creating the content, and if she was gone for like 2 weeks, I think we just need to be sensitive in that because there's a reason why she's not sharing and there's a reason why she's being very vague in terms of what issues she's going through. It's probably because she's not comfortable sharing it. Compound Fracture says VTubers still confuse me, so I don't have a best girl yet. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Hungry Hippo says, I don't think it was that, just absolutely no information, but health is very important. Look, I think professionally, there's something to be said that you do actually need to give information out. But the fact that she's you have to understand that Gargura is a fully grown woman, and we have to understand that women act differently, and women have a different way of thinking about things, and women worry about a lot of different things that guys do as well. I think there is a good reason why she hasn't given any information because that's just the way that women are sometimes, which is that they don't want to share stuff which is very sensitive or stuff that is compromising basically. That's why I'm completely from my perspective anyway, like we have to understand as men that we have to we have to say as men that we have to completely we have to be more understanding of why women don't share certain things. Just say I need to take a month off, no drama. Yeah, I know, but like I know a bunch of married people who say that, right? Sorry, when I notice people who are married or notice people who are in relationships, that's the same thing that happens, right? Where the guy says to the girl that, oh hey, why don't you just tell me straight, right? But I know that's something perfectly logical to do, but women don't do that. Which is I think the reason why women don't do that is because in terms of sensitive issues, they just don't like sharing stuff like that. And especially out in public, they don't like doing that, which I think we do have to be understanding of. I know it's perfectly logical to say, just say that I need to take a month off and no drama. But yeah, you just have to understand that women are like that. So it's a shame, but I think we have to be more understanding when it comes to these things. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna have a last sip of water. I'll be wrapping up the stream there. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to clip this more. I have somewhere to go to right after this, and I think I have to eat lunch as well before I go as well. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for joining me today. If you do like this sort of Christian anime commentary, Christian commentary on all things anime related, please do please do subscribe, and yeah, I usually just go for JP streamer now. Good Japanese practice for me. That's really good that you're learning Japanese, Hungry Hippo. That's very impressive. I wish I would like to at some point, but I just don't have the time right now, unfortunately. I'm juggling a lot of things right now. So yeah. Anyway, thanks guys for joining me, and I will see you again. Maybe later this month I'll stream again. So yeah, take care and ta-ra.